Reducing carbon footprint in Kuching by 15% in 2030. 5-year work permit offered in strategic sectors. KOTA SAMARAHAN, a thriving city. Those are the headlines for tonight. I'm Lorenzo Isaac and this is TVS Nightline. Sarawak expects to reduce the carbon footprint from land transport in Kuching City by 15% in 2030. The Premier of Sarawak, Dato' PATINGGI Tan Sri Abang JOHARI Tun Openg said the targets can be reached through a modern and eco-friendly integrated transportation system. Abang Johari said the transport sector accounts for nearly a quarter of global energy-related greenhouse gas emissions.
Under a business as usual scenario, this figure will continue rising to reach 1/3 of all emission by 2040. To address greenhouse gas emission from transportation sector, my government GPS introduced a number of hydrogen-powered buses in 2020 and is in the process of introducing hydrogen-powered autonomous rail rapid transit (RRT), a rail-less train system designed to be used for urban public passenger transport.
He said this when opening the 5th International Digital Economy Conference Sarawak IDEX 2022 on Tuesday. The two-day conference serves as a platform for participants to share new ideas, develop strategies and address issues and challenges to move forward in the sustainable digital economy. Abang Johari said the Sarawak government has also implemented the smart traffic light system at 42 junctions in Kuching and its surrounding districts.
Traffic data is used to synchronize the traffic lights to reduce traffic congestion, travel time, and greenhouse gas emission.
At the same time, Abang Johari said the state government will also continue with its initiative to conserve, protect, and manage the state's resources sustainably. The Sarawak government will be offering professionals working in strategic economic sectors such as energy and the digital industry a 5-year work permit, rescinding the current practice of renewing the permits annually in an attempt to attract in-demand global talents to its shores. According to the Premier of Sarawak, Dato' PATINGGI Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, while Sarawak has big plans to help it attain the status of a high-income and developed state, it is short of people with expertise in the relevant fields to help achieve that.
Well, we had our first IDEC in 2018, and we had our policy as a result of that, the 2018 to 2022 policy. And within these 5 years, 4 to 5 years, we have executed what has been agreed during the first IDEC. And this is the rural areas too. And once the connectivity has been completed, the whole connectivity, people are aware of this, the importance of digitalization. Then every part of Sarawak is easy for us to transform towards digital economy. So the first 5 years, we have achieved what we have said.
Abang Johari was speaking at a media conference at the 5th International Digital Economy Conference Sarawak IDEX 2022 held at the Borneo Convention Centre Kuching, BCCK, on Tuesday. He added that the state government will be engaging with the Immigration Department to roll out the plan in the next couple of months. Talent development is the core focus of Sarawak's digital economy ambitions and part of its post-COVID-19 development strategies. In his opening address for IDEX 2022, Abang Johari said that the state's Ministry of Education, Innovation and Talent Development, universities, TVETs and technical colleges are addressing the skill needs of the digital economy. One of its efforts included the establishment of the Digital Academy at the Center of Technical Excellence Sarawak, CENTEX, in 2019.
Sarawak will soon have its own Infectious Disease Centre, SIDC, which will be built in the KUCHING SAMARAHAN corridor, alongside Unimas Hospital, the Cancer Centre, as well as a health-related production plant. KOTA SAMARAHAN Municipal Council MPKS Chairman, Datuk Peter MINOS, said with these projects, KOTA SAMARAHAN would become both an educational and medical hub.
On a related matter, he said the first phase of the Autonomous Rapid Transit ART project will be implemented in Kota Samarahan to be undertaken by the Sarawak Economic Development Corporation's SEDC wholly owned subsidiary, Sarawak's Metro. MINOS said the ART project will likely begin before the year end.
Thing like ART coming up. Karena ART itu, ART nya we start daripada tempatnya nama from Samarahan to Lembus Lembus kepada dekat Jabatan Kop. So ART with the first phase will be in Samarahan. We are very happy lah because we were the first in Sarawak to use ART. Kita di Kuching tu tunggu tahun 2025, I think. So that's one. And then we, the Samarahan, we have a cancer center. It's a big one. Probably one of the first in Malaysia. Thanks to Datuk Sim yang bawa this cancer center. Kedua, we already have the heart center. Now we have a big hospital coming up dekat Unimas, ya. Dan juga we're going to have what they call antivirus center, also in Samarahan. And then there will be headquarters of this company namanya Smith yang akan buat health products, lah, obat lah, macam lah. So we see Samarahan in the next 5 years, setengah mati mau sokong kerjaan projek itu too many. But we can make it because as chairman of MPKS we are duty bound to do our best on behalf of the government.
Meanwhile, an additional 400 development projects are now being implemented by the Council. MINOS added that the Council will ensure that all planned projects will be completed within the time frame set to ensure that development can be implemented accordingly for its people.
The nuts found inside the seed of a dabai, a seasonal exotic fruit in Sarawak, which is said to taste as good as pistachio nuts, can be promoted as another indigenous product from the state. Sarawak's Deputy Premier, Dato' Amar Douglas Ukahamba, said prior to this, dabai was only known for its creamy yellowish flesh, and the seeds that contained the edible nuts were usually discarded.
At the same time, he said the bazaar organized by the Kuching South City Council MBKS at the Dewan MBKS grounds was among the platforms to promote authentic Sarawakian food, besides providing opportunities for Daya entrepreneurs to generate income. He added that by presenting varieties and unique products, this bazaar can also attract many people to come, not only locals, but also people from the peninsula as well as foreign tourists.
Yayasan Sarawak has given 3.46 million ringgit to the National Higher Education Fund Corporation, PTPTN, to help pay Sarawakian students' PTPTN loans. A mock check handover by Yayasan Director Mersal Abang Rosli to PTPTN Chief Executive Officer Ahmad Dasuki Abdul Majid was held in conjunction with a Gawai Raya celebration hosted by Yayasan Sarawak.
The state government has channeled a total of 36.13 million ringgit in assistance to students to help them repay their PTPTN loans through Yayasan Sarawak. This initiative will continue to benefit a total of 12,700 Sarawakians who have been identified as successful graduates by PTPTN and who repaid 30% or more of their PTPTN loans in 2021. As a result, students who have already paid 30% or more will not be required to apply for these incentives, as PTPTN will automatically implement them for eligible students. Students can visit the PTPTN website to verify their status and qualification for these incentives at the website shown. Borrowers who do not qualify for one of the first groups of recipients will be processed in the following group. At the same time, students are advised to repay their loans as it is still a responsibility.
The Kuching Magistrate Court on Tuesday fixed July 29 for further investigation for the murder case of 4-year-old Eric Chang. As the court awaits the DNA and forensic reports, the caretaker, Wendy Chai Sui Jen, and her 51-year-old husband, Ling Kok Liang, were ordered to be further remanded at Puncak Borneo Prison while awaiting the new date.
The accused were charged on March 31st under Section 302 of the Penal Code and read together with Section 34 of the same code. Eric Chang was reported missing on March 7 by his mother, and he was last seen at the caretaker's house in Taman Riverview in Bintawa. The couple and Eric's parents were then arrested by the police on March 11 to assist in the investigation, which prompted a multi-agency search operation from March 13 until March 19. The body of Eric Chang, however, has yet to be found.
Coming up right after the break, exemption of rent for school canteen operators, suicide attempt, MOH waiting for feedback from AGC. Right here on TVS Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. The rent exemption for canteen operators and those renting premises in schools under the Ministry of Education MOE has been extended for another 6 months from July 1st to December 31st this year.
Senior Education Minister Dato Dr. Razzie Jidin said the extension was given after taking into account the current economic situation and the fact those operators and tenants were still recovering from the impact of COVID-19.
Tempoh 2 tahun yang lalu merupakan satu tempoh yang amat sukar bagi pengusaha kantin dan juga penyewa premis di sekolah KPM. KPM yakin pelanjutan untuk tempoh 6 bulan ini akan dapat membantu dan memberi manfaat kepada pengusaha kantin dan juga penyewa premis di sekolah KPM dan seterusnya memberi manfaat kepada warga sekolah.
Prior to this, the MOE had given rent exemption for 6 months from July 2021 before extending it for another 6 months, ending June this year.
Individuals aged 60 and above with comorbidities are encouraged to take second booster dose as preparation for a new wave of COVID-19. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin warned that the number of new COVID-19 cases would fluctuate and the country might be hit by another wave of infections in 2 or 3 months' time.
Kita tahu walaupun kes COVID-19 sekarang ini terkawal, tetapi seperti mana yang saya telah maklumkan berkali-kali, kes ini akan pasang surut. Dia akan ada gelombang yang akan datang dari masa ke semasa. Dan mungkin dalam 2-3 bulan lagi kita akan mengalami, ataupun dalam masa 2-3 bulan lagi, kita akan mengalami gelombang baru. Sejauh mana gelombang itu ataupun sebesar mana gelombang itu kita tak tahu lagi, tapi yang pasti adalah berdasarkan kepada perkembangan epidemiologi di negara lain, gelombang jangkitan itu akan berlaku. Dan sebab itu untuk kategori tertentu, mereka yang berusia dan juga mereka yang mengidap masalah kesihatan yang kronik, digalakkan untuk top up imuniti mereka melalui penambahan dos vaksin.
Khairi said so far the ministry has yet to receive any reports of side effects caused by the second booster shot. As of yesterday, 107,844 people in Malaysia had received the COVID-19 vaccine second booster dose, with over 57,000 being individuals aged 60 and above. The Ministry of Health, MOH, is still waiting for feedback from the Attorney General's chambers on the amendment to Act 309 of the Penal Code involving a moratorium suspension on the prosecution and conviction of attempts to commit suicide. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin said the Cabinet was of the view that the matter would have to be finalised at the Attorney General chambers level before the government makes a decision.
Saya telah bangkitkan di Jemaah Menteri untuk kita ada moratorium. Namun demikian, pandangan Jemaah Menteri adalah biar perkara ini dimuktamadkan di peringkat Jabatan Ketua Negara, tak perlu ada moratorium. Kita dapat pandangan dulu sama ada pembunuhan diri itu dapat di-criminalize. So masih lagi menunggu dan selepas itu Kabinet ataupun Jemaah Menteri akan buat keputusan.
Earlier, the MOH had submitted to the Cabinet a memorandum for a moratorium on the prosecution and conviction involving attempted suicides. The memorandum is an effort to decriminalize suicide attempts and to defer or repeal sentencing of the offence under Section 309 of the Penal Code until amendments to the Act are made. Under Section 309 of the Penal Code, whoever attempts to commit suicide can be jailed for up to 1 year, fined, or both.
The government aims to generate an income of 11.1 billion ringgit for the tourism industry, with a total of 4.5 million tourist arrivals this year through the implementation of the Tourism Recovery Framework, TRF 2.0. Minister of Tourism, Arts and Culture, Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri said the revised target was based on positive indications involving the arrival of 2.3 million tourists in the country within the last 3 months.
InsyaAllah mungkin pada bulan September kita akan review balik, because we are very optimistic that pelancong yang akan datang boleh bertambah lagi. Kita melihat daripada petanda-petanda lah pada hari ini, and then especially kalau dibukakan lagi macam China buka, we can see now macam India pun dah mula nak masuk dan Indonesia dah buka juga, Dan those other countries yang berdekatan dengan kita sudah mula masuk.
Previously, Nancy said that her ministry was targeting 2 million tourist arrivals to Malaysia this year, with more than 6.8 billion ringgit in tourism receipts. To achieve the optimistic target, TRF 2.0 would focus on smart international and national collaborations, as well as the local community empowerment agenda in facing the uncertainties of the tourism industry in the future.
Now on to some global affairs. Britain's biggest rail strike in 30 years kicked off today as tens of thousands of staff walk out in a dispute over pay and jobs that could have the way for widespread industrial action across the economy in the coming months. The strike by the rail, maritime and transport unions will see 3 days of walkouts today, Thursday and Saturday.
The first of the walkouts began as 40,000 union members stopped working from the early hours of this morning. Many train operators in England, Scotland and Wales have cancelled most of their trains. The action went ahead as the union and the government failed to reach an agreement over wages on Monday afternoon. The London Metro service is also almost completely shut today as 10,000 workers walk out alongside the action by the rail workers. Most of the London Underground will be closed on the same days as the rail workers are striking and is not expected to be back by 200% until next Monday. Thousands of commuters will rely on their own vehicles, buses and other means of transport, or many of them will work from home to avoid the chaos in the city. Prime Minister Boris Johnson, under pressure to do more to help British households who face the toughest economic hit in decades, said the industrial action would harm businesses as they continue to recover from the pandemic. Unions have said the rail strikes could mark the start of a summer of discontent, with teachers, medics and waste disposal workers moving towards industrial action as surging food and fuel prices push inflation towards 10%. The move mirrors similar protests elsewhere, such as in Brussels, where the one-day strikes at Brussels airport and on local transport networks nationwide brought public travel to a near halt.
Cambodian villagers on the Mekong River have caught what researchers claim is the world's biggest freshwater fish ever recorded, a stingray that weighs in at 300 kilograms. A team of international researchers and fishermen caught, recorded and released the stingray in the Mekong River in Cambodia on June 14.
Very exciting. It's very exciting news because it was the world's largest fish. It's also very exciting news because it means that this stretch of the Mekong is still healthy. We hear a lot of stories about all the problems with the Mekong River, but this is actually a sign of hope that these huge fish still live in the Mekong.
The record also surpassed that of a 293-kilogram Mekong giant catfish that was caught in northern Thailand in 2005. The large female fish, which was named Borami or full moon in the Khmer language, was fitted with an acoustic device that will enable biologists to monitor its behavior and locations after it was released back into the river. The area of the Mekong River faces devastating ecological effects, with reports of a plan to build several hydropower dams in Cambodia's portion of the river. Experts also highlighted other concerns the river faces, including illegal overfishing as well as plastic waste.
Stay informed about the hand, foot and mouth disease HFMD with medical officer Dr. Wong Liang Tung and Dr. Izzy Hamidi on Sejahtera Asia tomorrow with hosts Alexa Nilian and Juzak Lan 7:30 a.m. on TVS Astro Channel 122 and My Freeview. See the world closer with TVS as we bring you the latest news updates both locally and internationally. Just a click away by heading onto our website at www.tvstvmy or follow us on our social media platforms. That's all the time we have for TVS Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Good night.